I've been running lead generation campaigns since I was 13 years old. And this is 9 things that your brokerages and lead generation companies are not telling you about your lead generation systems. Number one, we need to stop debating if you should pay for leads or not. Ultimately, in real estate, there's no such thing as a free lead. Every lead has a cost associated with it to get it into your database. Now, it's not always money, but sometimes it's time. And ultimately, we need to be asking ourselves, am I getting leads the most efficient way possible to achieve my business goal? That's the starting place before we even talk about paying for ads and paying for lead generation type campaigns. Number two, pay-per-click lead generation campaigns will not save your business. All too often, I get phone calls from people that think that they need more leads or they need this, that, or the other thing because they're struggling because the market's slow or whatever it is. But ultimately, a lead generation campaign, even if it's super efficient, is just a tool. But ultimately, the business has to be solid for it to be successful. Number three, real estate lead generation companies are absolutely lying to you about realistic conversion timelines for their pay-per-click campaigns. I don't know how many times I get on a consult with someone who is using a third-party lead generation company and the sales rep overpromised when it came to realistic expectations of how soon you're going to get closings. Now, yes, sometimes we do kick off a campaign and we will get a closing fairly quickly, but realistically, on average, it takes our campaigns about 12 to 14 months to start producing closings. And really, it's not efficient until about the 18-month mark. So you have to be able to fund your campaign for like 18 months without it closing in order for it to be profitable. Because one of the worst things you can do with pay-per-click is fund the campaign and turn it off when you run out of money, fund the campaign and turn it off. Google especially needs consistent funding over a long period of time in order to see efficient results with lead generation campaigns. Number four, your ads are absolutely useless if you don't have good systems on the back end to help them out. And this is what I mean. I get calls from people all the time that want to start lead generation campaigns, mostly pay-per-click. The problem is they don't have very good nurture systems on the back end. And undoubtedly what happens is they sign up with some pay-per-click management company and they start inundating their system with more leads that they can't handle because their systems are broken. And ultimately their conversion rate goes down and they just spend a bunch of money on leads that they're not doing anything with. And then they blame either the quality of the leads or the lead generation company, which sometimes is the problem. But a lot of the time, the fact is that they just don't have the systems to handle the increased volume of leads if you haven't been running lead generation campaigns for a long time. And this is why I have a big issue with solo agents running a high volume of pay-per-click leads and that type of stuff, because ultimately it's really hard for a solo agent to handle the lead volume that it will be producing. And they end up just spending a lot of money on leads that never even get touched. Number five, and this one is super important, your communication skills will determine your conversion rates. All too often, I have people that want to jump into pay-per-click, but they've never dealt with cold leads before. Let's face it, internet style cold leads are very, very hard to convert, and your communication skills need to be on point in order to convert these leads. Because at the end of the day, these people do not know you at all, and they take a lot of time to convert, which we talked about in the timeline one. But if your communication skills are not on point, you're just throwing money away at these ads. And once again, it's kind of like not having the systems in place. If you don't have the communication skills to convert these, you're better off to not run these ads at all. Number six, retargeting is where the true money lies when it comes to running pay-per-click ad campaigns. You see, to get somebody into your ecosystem is fairly expensive for that first cost per lead. But once they're there, there's a lot of techniques that you can use for retargeting that are very inexpensive that nurture these people. Because like I said, cold leads are really hard to convert, but with a good retargeting campaign to the people that you've already brought in at the top of funnel, you can slowly warm those people up with very, very efficient, inexpensive ads that will then help your conversion rate immensely. Now, a lot of people start the initial pay-per-click campaign and then don't do anything for retargeting, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table because they've already paid the most expensive part, which is getting them into the ecosystem. So ultimately, running a very successful retargeting campaign will increase your conversion rate exponentially. Number 7, your landing page experience is just as important as your ad copy. All too often, I see people that run a really, really good ad from the standpoint of they have great ad copy. They really have defined their audience really well. The problem is their landing page is just off base, and it's either not relevant to what they're doing or it just looks bad. And ultimately, the conversion rate on people signing up for that ad goes in the tank, which then will drive the cost of the click up, which ultimately drives your cost per lead up. So, you don't only have to have a really good ad, you need to have a really good landing page. Those two things need to work together ultimately to have a successful ad overall. Now, this one's really cool. Number 8 is using organic social media to test your ads before you actually put money behind them. Now, when I started running ads, this really wasn't an option because when I started running ads, MySpace was still just starting. So ultimately, you couldn't do it. But now, because of how robust social media is and the ability to use social media organically to test out ad copy, you can do so much testing organically of ad copy, landing page design, all those type of things you can test out on social media before you even put an ad up that has any money behind it. And ultimately, testing those elements of the ad out organically will save you a ton of money. And more importantly, it saves you a ton of time on optimizing your ad campaigns to be more efficient. Number 9, and finally, the last one on the list is focus on your conversion rate over the number of leads that a campaign is actually bringing in. All too often, I have people call and say, hey, I need to bring in more leads. And they're already running campaigns. They want, more leads from different campaigns or whatever. And I ask them, what's your conversion rate? Now, a lot of times they can't even tell me. And if they can, normally it's exponentially lower than what the average is. If you're not hitting the average conversion rate within our industry, which according to NAR is 0.4 to 1.2%, yes, leave it up to NAR to give us a range as an average. If you're not hitting those basic metrics, you have no business trying to get more leads into the system until you can hit those baselines. Because bringing more leads into a system that you're not converting is ultimately, once again, like a lot of the other things on this list, just spending a lot of money for leads that aren't going to do you any good. When I started this video, I started running ads at 13 years old. And this is kind of a side note, but I had an aunt who was an entrepreneur, and she was an absolutely amazing woman that took the time to teach me a skill that to this day is probably one of the most valuable skills that I've learned. She sat me down, taught me Google Ads. This was right about the time that Google was just starting to allow entrepreneurs and business owners to run their own ad campaigns. She invested that time in me. So ultimately, at the end of this, the most important thing that I hope you guys get out of this is if there's a kid in your life or someone that you can invest some time into, you never know what that knowledge is going to lead to them doing later on in life.